So when we're finding a percentage, the whole point is, like we talked about yesterday, percentage is a fraction out of 100. That's a definition per cent. It's cent. It's breaking things up in 100 places, like a centurion is in charge of 100 soldiers, ancient Rome, etc., etc. Okay, so you're finding a given number of parts out of 100. So when you're asked to find 40% of something, so well, what's 40 parts out of 100 of this thing? So basically what you're saying is divide this quantity into 100 parts and then find 40 of them, or 60 of them, or however many parts you're asked to find. Alright, change the percentage to a fraction with denominator 100, then multiply with the quantity. That's it. Okay, so when you're finding a percentage of a quantity, you put the percentage over 100 and then multiply it with that quantity. Okay. I know that one thing that a lot of students can get with percentages, when you're finding percentage of a quantity, it's like, well, do I put the percentage over the amount of the quantity and times by 100, or do I put it over 100 and times by the quantity? It depends on what you're doing. So you always keep the percentages together. Make it a fraction over 100, and then multiply with the quantity. Remember that you can have a percentage over 100%. You can have 300%. You can have a 200% increase. You can have 105% of a quantity. I think it's 5% greater than what it was. Okay, so if something doubles, then we say it is 200% of the original. 100% is the total, it's full, and 200% is full one again. So it's double the total, it's 200%. Alright, so just remembering that we can do that. So a couple of examples that we'll do. So we'll find 34% of $600. Okay, so following the way we think about it, what's 34 parts out of 100 of $600? So the working is 34 over 100. So we make it a fraction with denominator 100, and then multiply it by the quantity, which is 600. And then that equals, so we'll find that quantity. $204. Yes, Emma. You could do that, yeah, or you can just do, yeah, you can do 0.34 times 600. That's also perfectly fine. Okay, $204. Alright, so you just put it over 100, multiply it. Yeah. Yeah, it's 34% of the quantity we're trying to find, so you put it over 100. 6.5% of 1,200 kilograms. Again, same thing. You can do two methods, 6.5 over 100 times 1,200. Or you can do 6.5% as a decimal, 0.065. Times. And in both these cases, the answer is 78. 78 kilograms. Okay? Either method is really fine. So we're just finding that percentage. Remember, just put it over 100, multiply it. And so it's when I suppose you have the two things. When you ask to find a quantity as a percentage of another quantity, and you have those mixed in with these sort of questions, so you can get a little bit confusing at times, but as long as we remember, keep the percentages together in the fraction, or keep quantities together in the fraction. Okay? Any questions about this? Oh, I can't, unfortunately. Remember that you can have a percentage over 100. If something is doubled, you say it's 200% of the original. It's just an example. So the important point is this. Remember that you can have percentages over 100%. Any number of examples of that. So the next heading I'd like you to put is percentage increase and decrease. There's two methods you can use for this. And either one is as quick as the other, really, because once you get familiar with it, it's very quick to do this. So we're just going to go over it. So when you want to increase or decrease a quantity by a given percentage, find the percentage as a quantity of the total. So take this step first, and then add or subtract it from the quantity. Okay? So you're finding, if it says reduce by 10%, you find 10% of the original, and then with that amount that you found, you just subtract. You're reducing. Or if you say increase an amount by 10%, you add it on. Okay? So that's the first method we can use. So move it up a bit. Okay? Or the other method is you add or subtract the percentage to or from 100%, and find this percentage of the quantity. And explaining it like that doesn't really make a lot of sense, but what you do is you say if you're increasing something by say 15%, what you're actually finding is 115% of the original. And so we can then just straight away find 115% of a given quantity. Or if you're reducing something by 15%, what you're actually looking for is to find 85% of the original. And so you can just go and find 85% of that quantity straight away without finding 15% first and then subtract it. Okay, so one is sort of two steps, the other one is one step, as long as you know what you're doing. So this second method takes a little bit more sort of confidence in knowing what percentage is about. First one is much more straightforward. Okay, but either one you use the one you're comfortable with. Can I move it up? Is that alright? We're good? I can always come back. Remember this. This is not it's not getting rubbed off. I am. So I just recorded the voice. Okay, so there's the example. I'll do two methods. Okay, I'll do A and I'll do B together. So let's call this one A. Let's call this one B. So A is, well, increase $60 by 15%. That's the first thing that we're asked to do. So what I want to find is, given method A, it says, well, you find the percentage of the quantity, and then you add or subtract it. So what we have to do is find 15% of $60. So I say, well, 15 over 60. Obviously, I'm getting confused as well. 15 over 100 multiplied by the quantity, which is 60. Alright, and so that is going to be $9. 15% 60 is $9. Or just 9. Okay, so 9. What we have to do is to increase, so we have to add on the $9. So we do 60 plus 9 equals $69. Okay, the other method is, we say, well, if we're increasing something by 15%, what we're actually finding is 115% of that quantity. So, adding 15% to 100%, we find 115% of the quantity of the $60. So what we can do is say, well, if I want to find 115%, yes, Emma? Which one, sorry? Well, what we're doing is we do 115 over 100, okay, percentage over 100, multiplied by the quantity, which is 60. Yeah, you can do 1.15. Yeah, you can always do the decimal. 1.15 times 60. Yeah, that's also fine. And so 115 over 100 times 60 is equal to the same, $69. So Emma, what was your, did I answer your question?
No, I didn't hear it.
0.6 times 115. Yeah, okay, I mean, in the way that these operations work, when you have divisions and multiplications, you can rearrange it in any way, and it's going to work. But for the sake of sort of keeping it together, I can do it like that. But that's also, it does work. Just the way that operations, multiplication and division are interchangeable. You can do it in any order, you're going to get the same. Yeah, so that's cool. Alright, so we're understanding these two methods. One is you find a percentage and then subtract it or add it. The other one is you find it in one go. You work out what percentage of the original it is, and then you work that out. Alright, so give me a moment to copy that down. Just move it up to the top so you can see. Oh, still want to do that. Oops. Not too far. Okay, got that? That says adding 15% to 100%. Adam and Sean, yes. Oh no, that's it. I was going to write equals. Yeah, it's just a different way. Give me 1.15 times 60, whatever. Okay, this one, there's two methods as well. Decrease 300 litres by 48%. We've got method A. I'll put method B over here. The method A is we find 48% of 300 and then we subtract it because it's a decrease. So we say, well, 48 over 100 multiplied by 300 is equal to 144 litres. Okay, so that's 48%, and we're decreasing by that much. So we need to subtract it from 300. 300 minus 144 is equal to 156 litres. Okay, find the percentage, subtract it because it's a decrease. The next method is to say, well, 100% minus 48% equals 52%. So what we're actually finding is, instead of subtracting 48%, we're saying let's find 52% of the original. So to do that, we have to do 52 over 100 multiplied by 300. And so we end up with the same, which is 156 litres. Okay, so these two methods bring the same. If you do the two methods and you don't get the same answer, one of them is wrong. Yes? No. Okay, just choose whichever one you prefer, you go right. To be honest with you, instinctively I go for the first one. I'm happy with, I quite like the second one, because the second one seems, to me anyway, seems kind of neater and a bit more sort of, has a bit more finesse. Okay, maybe not, you don't like that. But anyway, I just naturally would go for the first one, just because of the way I think. Maybe the way I learned it, but does it take any longer? No. Because it's just going boom. Work out the percentage, okay, alright. Yeah? Just seems to be the way my mind works. Maybe your mind, when you think about it, likes this way. Whichever way you like. I don't mind. But you don't have to do both. Never do two methods for one question. Yes. This bit? This one here. Yeah. Oh, this is just the alternative to this. We're just saying this is with decimals instead of doing fractions. Don't worry too much about it. Alright. Yeah. Okay, if there's no questions, I'm happy to come around and help you. So exercise. Exercise 1.15, question 1 and 2 ACE, 3 to 9 all. 1.16, 1 and 2 ACE, 3 to 12 all. Okay? Let's see if we can knock that over.